No. Hello, hello. You know, it's not so difficult, not so easy. Tack. No, I'm online here. Get a picture here now. Tack. Okay, I just take it off here. This is like impossible to work like this. It was more a joke, but actually it's a small testimonial of the situation we are working here. And then I need to, now they are going to clean here. I also have my earphones in, so you will hear the difference. And I hope you can hear me. Okay, very good. And I still have to go here with all my things here. And then I make it like this. I have my computer here so then I can see better your comments. And ora in riproduzione, very good. So then I have it easier to see all my followers here. Hello, this is for the first time outside. 1 week ago it was very cold. It's a little bit fresh still. I put it on a warmer pullover, but I have my coffee here and I hope I will not freeze here outside. And Lisbeth Landenstein, wishing you and your family all the best. Hang in here. Very good. So I'm happy you're here, you know. And what else? Maybe it's a little bit nicer if I put this like here on this side, okay? My computer, huh? So here you can see a little bit how I put it up, or my whole table here. Hold on. You see my table, the computer is here, coffee, sheet of paper, everything, okay. But maybe it's a little bit better like this, huh? What do you think? Yes. Hi, Edgar. Nice to see you again. Hello, Johannes. I hope it worked out with the viola. The violinist. Hello, Lorenzo Radelli is always curious to see what I'm telling here to my friends. It's very nice. Marcin. Hi, Edgar. Hello. Sounds like Anna. This is my Anna, you know. This is very nice that you're all here. Hi from Memphis, United States of America. Terry, very good. So now we will be a little bit disturbed because they're cleaning up here. Just Monday, 2 o'clock. I didn't know that. Usually they were very early in the morning cleaning up here. But this is fine. I don't know. You also have a cup of coffee next to you. Hmm? And actually, I cannot talk and put the glasses with this protection here, which a friend of mine, Michael, sent me from China. I got 100 for me and 100 for Daniele. Now the problem is that I don't know how to get them to Daniele. But from today on in Italy, you have to pay a fine if you go outside on the road and you don't wear it. And from today on, they're distributing this mask for free in the pharmacy and in the supermarket. And now it would be nice to see if there are actually these masks available, but this is another question. This week I did my first video here at home, which was really difficult. It's a little bit more easy like this online streaming for me because I have somehow somebody where I see that they're listening, questioning, things like this, and I have a little bit of feedback how it is actually going here. I cannot see yet the whole online transmission here, but we will hope that this is here going good. There's even some advertising in between, which is all fine. Anyhow, we're here doing our best, and now I took off the mask because otherwise the glasses are foggy and I cannot read anymore. Here comes in how many people? 24 people already, and I didn't start yet. My sweetheart is going for to the pharmacy, and
Good
you have also your
afternoon.
gloves, everything. Okay, very good, honey. Bye bye. No kiss with the mask. Okay. Um, so she's going to have out, and then when she comes back, she has another streaming lesson with her high school again. So all my family is actually online, very busy. I could keep on being busy like this for a long time if I didn't have to make my living with this. And my making my living is actually making instruments. I got a few orders before the whole the shutdown started, so it was a little bit easier. But now that for 1 month I'm not working, is pretty tough. It's missing. It makes part of my life that I create something with my fingers and with my hands, and at the end of the day I look at it and I say, well, I made this. It's completely new experience for over so long period that I don't actually make something. I'm extremely craftsman. Yeah, and it's a new experience for me. Let's see what your questions are here. What kind of maple is the best for the violin? This is a good question. Actually, I would just if your desire of sound is the sound of a great master violin, great Italian master like Stradivari, Guarnieri, and so on, Testore, and then it's actually the classic maple. But and that one, like 20 years ago, from Romania, they showed up and sold a lot of wood, and everybody bought a lot of wood because it was so cheap. But actually, it looked the same, and you cannot actually tell it as long as you didn't have to didn't work on it, the whole wood. But the best maple comes from Bosnia. It's probably how much rain is there and things like this make that maple become the best maple. It's very compact, even kind of not greasy, but it's so compact that when you cut it, it's even shiny. And this is the right one. So for a violin like this, and the good maple from Bosnia could cost 300 euros only the bag, for instance, is easy. Yeah. But if you look over all of the cost of an instrument, then actually it's not that much, and I think it really makes a big difference. Yeah, but the maple is not this important than the spruce of the top. Yeah, so you can certainly make different woods, but let's say a slab cut or a radial, how it is used for the violin, makes a huge difference. It would become a too mellow sound, like this Canadian maple, very nice looking, great for violas, but not good for violin. So on the violin, I would just, if you want to maximum, you have to get the best from Bosnia. Lorenzo Radaelli, io mangio un gelato, come quando ero in bottega con te. Is true. He's eating an ice cream and watching to my video. Actually, in my workshop, when the sun comes out, we always have some ice cream at a certain point of the day, and it's really nice to enjoy life like this. Uh, I don't know how to get the ice cream now to my house. Maybe from the supermarket. It's not so good. Huh? Lisbeth Lattenstein, what capacities does a person need to be a good violin maker? This is a good question. As much as you dedicate your life to one thing, the better you become. um, I started making instruments with 12, 13 years, more or less. And since then, actually, it took over more and more in my life, and I couldn't even imagine making a life without making. It's for me the first time that for over 4 weeks I'm not working, and I'm missing it extremely. You cannot imagine, but my mind is always working on the whole subject, and I'm reading about it. And so probably the capacity is that you just dedicate your life to it, and the most important ingredient is a certain passion for it. If you don't have a certain passion for something, you won't keep doing it for the rest of your life. So you're never too old to get started. I know some people who started making instruments when they retired, and then they worked for the past 30 years day and night. But dedicate a lot of time is certainly probably the most important ingredient. Henry, good morning from Miami. Love what you do. Be safe. Thank you very much. Watch out, the same as you. People underestimate the whole thing, like in Sweden right now. Yeah. And when you are in the situation like now that it's a shutdown, then you are actually only, again, your desire is just to come back to the same situation where we have been in the beginning, which does not mean that is over. Okay. So just stay safe. If it's not heavy in your area, just stay safe. It's not nice to see the funeral truck outside passing by. So many. I've never didn't even see that there are so many. I don't know why they're shouting right now too much. Usually they're silent. They make it in the morning, and today they're shouting and screaming here. But it's okay. Um, okay, so wherever you are living, just be safe. Wash your hands. Stay away from people. Don't make dinners and great things like this. It's just not the right time to do, believe me. And you don't have to be afraid that people are laughing off you. Hi, Edgar. Nice to see you. Ashkar, Mohammad Stade. Very nice to see you here. Paul McDonald, hello from Aberfoyle, Ontario, Canada. Very good. I'm so happy that all over the place people are looking, and we're now 23 people. Very good. Yes, your tips were great, Johannes. Okay. Um, Johannes had the problem last week with this, for the ones who were not here, with a wolf tone on the A string on the viola. And let's see, tried everything you suggested, and the wolf improved. This is always nice when we talk about improved. Did the wolf become worse? No, paperclip on the strings was already good, but making the scroll heavier also very good. So I'm happy that we somehow um, uh, could resolve something. I see that you later on you write something again. By the way, can you recommend a Viola A string that is a little similar like dominant, relatively thick, low tension? My dominant A always breaks directly at the ball after a while. This is annoying. So probably then if it is a string like this, if you want a little bit less tension, then probably Eva Pirazzi Gold. I don't know if this is, no, but Obligato would also be good. No, dominant. It's actually the dominant doesn't really break so easy. So probably where the A string is, you should check what's wrong here. Is it in a small fine tuner? So then probably, or you have to, where the fine tuner is, and you put in the string and then it goes in, just open it up a little bit maybe, or on the backside look if it's too sharp, that edge, because usually the A string from dominant at that position should not crack. Double check it, or take out the fine tuner and play a little bit without fine tuner and see if it's still breaking. It shouldn't. I think it's your fine tuner. Let's go back to Terry. Edgar, do you know what the price range Stradivari sold his violins for? This is a good question. At the time, we have some papers written about Stradivari and his wealth, and he had a lot of apartments which he was renting and things like this. He was pretty good with his finances, and there were also some things about the communications between customers, the court, and how much they paid for the instruments. And it was about 1 to 2 cows. Okay, this is the price range of a Stradivari at his time. Sounds now a little bit strange, but uh, probably he got, now let's take the best cow you can find. I'm not a farmer, I don't know, but I just remember that because I made a very precious violin. I didn't come up now with this news online. It was probably the most expensive violin ever being made. And the owner now passed away in January. And so now I'm free that I can tell to everybody that I did it. And but I just think it's not the right moment right now to go into with this news. But at that time, we wanted to know if it was actually the most expensive violin. And from the Chamber of Commerce in Cremona, they communicated about these prices of Stradivari. And from that time, I remember that the price was given from a cow and things like this. Um, Henry, Miami, it's 75. Need to come here. It's good for the violin. I could imagine that it's nice weather there. It's really nice. Russ Corbett. Hello, Russ. um, I made it. Yoo-hoo! Thank you for inviting us all to your home to chat. It's 8 a.m. here in South Carolina in the US, and I'm enjoying a coffee and biscuits. That's great. That's why I took 2 o'clock, because I remember that was a time where most people can actually follow the thing. Johannes, I went already through this. Henry, why Chinese use lacquer? Clear on the violin and it sounds good. What's the difference? That they take transparent lacquer to make it very shiny is actually, if you make a product which costs little and you want to sell it, then you have a different price, different clientele, which is rather choosing something shiny than something fancy. This is one reason why they use the transparent, which does not mean that these instruments don't sound well. Okay, this is just it's just another additional thing. It's easier to sell your car when it is washed, right? You wouldn't go for a dirt ride in nature and then try to sell it as the best car. Okay, so you try to make it as shiny as possible in order that the customer then has the impression that he can then be the first owner. So people want to buy like a small version. So this is why the Chinese use this transparent varnish to finish easy, and especially to finish it easy. If you have the varnish and you sandpaper and then you do a very thin layer of transparent varnish, you can just by putting on with the brush one last layer, it's glossy and shiny like a glass violin. And so you can actually, with less time, get a more shiny result. And this is very likely why they put this on. In America and also in Europe, some areas in Asia, Singapore, Korea, they don't like this shiny. Japanese, they like it shiny. Chinese, I'm not so sure. They're a little bit more directed towards European style. So it's depending on culture and the past, where you come from, what you like for. Marcin Slachta. Hello. I will make an one piece if no hello. If we make a one piece back plate cut tangentially, which way are we giving the core? I have to think about it. But if I got the question, this is the tree, okay? round tree. And now we cut this tree. And this would be a traditional violin. Then you cut it in two, right? And then these two become a joint, and then you have the arching like this, and this is the flat area, okay? Is that clear? For the what you are calling a tangente means that you have it here. So you have this piece here, right? And then you make the flat area here and the arching in here like this. Okay, that's how I would do it. Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, with the one piece. And greeting from Poland. So this is how I would do it. And then I would use this kind of wood for a viola and not for a violin. For a violin, it's better to use the first one, the piece of cake, and like this. Or if this one piece is big enough, then you can make out of one, just one piece, and then you make the arching inside. Okay? I hope this is the answer for your question. Hello, nice to see you. Arfan, Hanba. Me too. It's very nice to see you here. In the backside of this nice view, you see the apartment where my father-in-law is living. Okay, and we are living on this side on 2 floors. Yeah. Okay. Hello, nice to see you. Hello from Corona, Southern California. Wow, I imagine you also are closed inside, right? Watching out that nothing happens, right? Wow, I lost now this here. Where is that? Okay. Then there is somebody I'm not good in this reading. Big love from you and Italy from Jordan. Very good. Paris, France. Wow, are fun. Tostra 97. Hey, would you look at what I made it this week? I do have a question that is very relevant right now for me. I'm varnishing my cello right now, my second time varnishing, and I think it's very difficult. Okay, so now I have to search what you were writing. I think the details would be a bit long for this format, but basically I now have a very saturated Stradivari-ish red color, which is a bit blotchy, especially on the top. I don't know what blotchy means. It doesn't bother me much, but I would like to even it out a little bit without adding more red, and preferably too much additional varnish. I know that 3 thin coats of hammer oil. What would you suggest? I was thinking maybe 1 or maximum 2 coats with burnt umber in it to make it slightly opaque. Also, would you polish the varnish and how? It looks decent as is, but it has a bit of orange peel maybe. I have 000 pomice and polishing compound for boats. Best regards, Tobias. Yeah, actually, Tobias, when I read all your things here, I think I just would keep on doing what you're doing. And it's probably your result is a little bit a result that you were putting the last red layer with artificial light, and then the next day it pops out that it's too red. On the other hand, the good news is that the red color usually goes away very quick. So I would just cool down, come to an end before finishing too much now. If the last coat was a colored coat, I would put on a transparent or yellow coat on top of it before maybe just pass quick with some very fine sandpaper. Then you put a layer of transparent or two, but not too thick, very thin, and just put it very, very thin. And then with this pommature and everything, you can polish and grind it a little bit, and that should be actually very good. And then at the very end, you can also do a very thin shellac polish if you are a fan of shiny finishing. But usually, if you are the one who is varnishing, you take it too serious and you just leave it a little bit. And this burnt umber is something which I put on at the very end. Then I take it off immediately, and I take it off as far how I actually want it. I don't hope in things later on that I will do it. And then at the very end, another small grinding with pommature, and that's it, okay? I'm not a big fan of too shiny instruments, okay? But this is what I see. And believe me, you see the small different mistakes, the other ones, they don't see it. And the next instrument, you do it better. Just keep on doing, you know? Nirmaibel. I was playing a bit with my bridge, and violin sound seems to be more powerful when bridge is very slightly tilted towards. But bridge might get bent during time. Would sound post adjustment help? Ha, I don't really get that one. To be more powerful when bridge is very slightly tilted forward. That's a good question, but this is here. Also, how does the bridge heath affect the sound? Thank you. Okay, with this moving is a little bit difficult because if you're just moving the bridge a little bit, is one thing, but the most important thing is actually if it's a full-size violin, let's say, that the string length is as long as a full-size violin. That means that you have to measure it from the upper nut to the bridge, where the bridge actually starts, just before, and then it should be 32.8 centimeters or 328 millimeters, whatever you want, and then I look where the bridge, how the bridge stays, and actually the bridge should stand that it is exactly dividing the angle from the tailpiece towards the fingerboard, and it should be exactly dividing this in two equal parts. Okay, so that it's a little bit standing like this because this is a little bit more straight down and this straight like this. So measuring from the upper part where the neck is into the body with a meter, and you go down to the bridge feet, and the bridge feet is like this, the back side towards the tailpiece, the angle of the bridge should be 19.65, a little bit less, and that would be the perfect position. And then if you see that it doesn't really fit well your feet, then you actually should get your feet even better adjusted. And once it is in this direction, then I would start moving the sound post. I have a lot of nice videos about this position of the sound post and things like this, so I would recommend that you go and look at this, and then you will see it. And then also how the bridge heath is influencing the sound. This is also something that a lot of people, is very common among musicians, that they believe that the sound of an instrument is stronger if the bridge is higher. And this is a completely nonsense. Yeah, this is exactly the opposite. Actually, a too low bridge for the sound-wise, is definitely better. And the reason is that when you use the bow to play, the bow actually takes the string, is moving it, and unless it's no fraction anymore, and then it's jumping back, and then next part of the bow, and so it's like this in this area where the bow is. But the rest of the strings, it is actually vibrating in all directions. Okay, it's vibrating up and down, it's left and right. And so if the bridge is now too high, the bridge is actually stuck from the tension of these vibrating strings, And the bridge at that point cannot anymore move. And the movement of this string, which goes in all directions, should also make the bridge vibrate in all directions. That means back and forward, up and down, left and right, all directions. If it's too high and the string is keeping the, the bridge too tight in one position, means that it cannot anymore go up and down, for instance, can maximum maybe a little bit back and forward, but it cannot go up and down. So you are eliminating a part of the properties the bridge should actually make. So it's better to have a low bridge than a too high. Okay. Tostra, we made the varnish, so I would recommend that you varnishing and keeping on making the next instrument. Arfan, what the tension of violin strings for? Light, medium. Thank you very much, Arfan from Paris, France. Wow, this is actually a question you should ask for somebody who is making strings. They can give you much better advice. But it's actually, you can play a lot with the dimension and the material itself of the string, and that's what the people actually do. And so um, let's say Eva Pirazzi is now, I don't really love the string, but Eva Pirazzi is the normal one, the green one for violin, and Eva Pirazzi gold. And the difference of these two are that Eva Pirazzi gold costs double. Probably it doesn't even cost 10% more in production. It's probably even the same. But the Eva Pirazzi, the normal one, has a certain tension, let's say, and the Eva Pirazzi Gold has less pressure. So well, that means you need less pressure to tune the string on a certain tone. And now probably many of you will say, no, but it feels so hard. And indeed, less tension, but under the finger, it feels harder, okay? And this is because the Eva Pirazzi Gold is made out of more precious material, so it's a little bit thinner, and you don't need that much to go to that pitch of that string, okay? So, and the question now is more a question of what kind of sound you want. If you want it slightly, I don't want now say dirty, but you know, a dominant string has some different sound next to the violin sound, which 20, 30, 50 years ago was very, very charming. Nowadays, people want it a little bit more just tight on the point, more focused. So it goes all more and more into the direction of the Eva Pirazzi Gold string, for instance, where it means less tension, and under the finger it feels harder. Yeah. And then certainly if it's under the finger harder, then you probably need also a lower bridge or a lower string haze towards the fingerboard. So it's always a combination. And this is something which is very individual. And I cannot give now advice to everybody of you what is now the best, because it's so individual what kind of circumstances you want. It's like in your car. If you want now these soft French seats, or you want these super hard, you're working hard, you have to sit hard like a German, yeah. Uh, Same thing. It depends on your taste, you know, and what you feel that you have to you are made for. Okay. I hope, Arfan, this is a good answer for your question. Sorry, I was missing now the question. This is a little bit strange how it is working. They're making so much noise. It was probably not a good idea that I'm outside here. I'm sorry that it's so noisy. Okay. Um, I Sorry, I have here lost my. I have to go for relevant. Uh, Also, would you polish the varnish? But yes, okay, I would polish it certainly, and also the amber. I would look good. Best regards, Tobias. Martin, okay. Johannes, I already changed the fine tune in the past. Now I have one for sling strings. Okay. Together with a small titanium adapter for balls. Ah, so the adapter has only contact to the ball itself and the string is not bent at all. Bridge has graphite and string goes smoothly. Ah, always tune in from below. Play it for 42. After 4 or 5 weeks, it's going, you know. You're talking about 4 or 5 strings, 4 or 5 weeks. And I know that from Vienna Philharmonic, they have an A string for not even 1 week. Okay. So it depends a little bit how much you play, you know. How important is to tune the top and back plates with building a violin, when building a violin? Can you describe how you do it? I did them all. I did even the Hutchins method and tuning and everything. Now at the very end, I ended up to just doing it by what I feel, because actually every way of using a different method is somehow just that you somehow rely on another measurement and not on your own experience. And that's something which I somehow at a certain point I just said, yeah, I don't need that. You know, I prefer just acquiring this experience in my fingertips, and then I just tune it. Would be so that's actually my experience, but this is because I have already like I went through all these systems. So if I could just do advice or give advice, I just would say probably in the beginning start writing down all the measurements, do all the different ways of tuning by tapping, by moving, by looking, by with lights and with the Hutchins system, and slowly you will see that certain things are going to be repeated all the time, and then you feel already quite comfortable without doing all these all these things, and then you get self-confidence about what you're doing. Okay, that's I think the best advice I can give you for this kind of wow, we have 37 people here and they're coming questions in like crazy, and I have to continue here. Jim Bell, hello from Greenville, South California. Well, all the people from the United States, they're waking up and they're all happy to follow me. Nice. Tostra, thanks. I think it's already better than my first one, so the next will definitely look even better. Okay, I would just keep on doing it. Just see it like this artist, you know. At a certain point, you just have to say, it's done, and then you just go for it. I don't like ugly, shiny new instruments either. Me too. Jim Silva, he took away the message. I'm sorry about it. I hope he will put it back again. Mark Christian Chua, hi Edgar. Is it possible to send you an email of a video of my violin, and can you comment about the sound quality of my violin? Certainly, let's give it a try. It's always something I'm always looking for, how we can do it online. And I'm even selling instruments by just describing by words. And sometimes I send a video if I have a musician who's playing it. And I think it's a good idea. Yeah, just do it. My next question is related to Jim's. When making a copy of an old instrument, do you use similar graduation thickness? Do you use your own system? Do you plate tunes? Well, it's a little bit, and I explained it before. certainly I'm looking what other makers did. But if you look all the thicknesses of a Guarnieri, you realize that he didn't have any very precise tool, and he just made it somehow. And this is somehow, I like this. Not because it's so rough and nasty, but it's because you just can tell that he knew what he was doing, and he just was sure that this will sound. So I do it the same thing. I look what the old masters did, but then I do it the same way. And then I once I have their system and I look at what's turning out, then I do apply my own thing. As soon as I do it, automatically it becomes my way. Yeah. Hello, my name is Abdallah. Can I learn make violin myself? Yes, of course. I think on YouTube there's everything you need to know how to make a violin. You know, there's so many other makers. Um yeah, I would say it all starts that you just get doing, you know, and then once you get doing, then you understand all the problems which you are going to face, and it's, I think, a very interesting thing. It's I would say if I can give you advice, don't start. You know, it's never ending, and it will capture you like an octopus. You know, watch out. You know, okay. Okay, I copied the original thicknesses on the cello as I don't have enough experience to do something else. It's okay, but probably at a certain point, you will once you hear your cello, then you will start doing it. Because if it would be so easy just to replay or remake exactly what the old master did, then all factory instruments should sound super great, but they don't. So the tricky point is not to make it exactly the same way like another one, because every piece of wood is different, and you have to adapt what you are doing to your conditions, your wood, and your model, and all this. So it's the secret is not to remake exactly the same. The secret is to understand the piece of wood and make the right arching in the combination with the right thicknesses. Yeah. Marcin, thank you very much for your help. You're welcome. I'm always here every Monday now. Nirmail, thank you for your knowledge. Best from Slovenia. Hello. I love Slovenia. Varazzani, ciao bello. Siamo sempre qui. Ci sentiamo più tardi. Arfan, thank you very much. Stay safe. Love your videos. Thank you, Arfan. So see, glad that Edgar is still alive and staying healthy. Yes, I'm staying healthy. I'm doing every day my Adidas training app, and then also the Nike training center app, which keeps me very healthy, and I'm feel very healthy. We have all to be in best shape for the coronavirus, which will sooner or later capture most of us. Jerry James, hello from the US. Danilo, hi Edgar. So I got a bit thinner fingers, so I think my only difficulty when playing quints is it possible to reduce a bit range between strings? Yes, of course, but for you as a musician, it's a little bit difficult. So it's something you should go to somebody who is able to do that, or to a violin maker, or if you really feel to do it, it's not so easy. Huh? To do it properly is not so easy. So then you certainly can adjust this. Yeah? But don't exaggerate too much. Usually in the upper part, half a millimeter over all four strings makes already a big difference. Yeah. So if you really have so thin fingers, then I give you 1 millimeter, but less. But don't exaggerate too much. Mark Christian Chua, is it possible that I can commission for you in the near future to have a Guadagnini copy of Julia Fischer or any familiar model of Guadagnini? Mail? Yes, of course. Send me an email, info@eruss.it, and I'm happy to make you your Julia Fischer Guadagnini. It's not a problem. I'm looking forward to do that. That would be a great thing. Henry, can I finish a violin like I finish a guitar? On a violin, I use polyester sealer, then flat 10 sheen conversion varnish at 4 mils. Would it make a difference? I'm sure it would make a difference, but and you can do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. um, how should I explain you that? That for long times I actually thought that the violin varnish has to be soft over the years, and that's why I started with oil varnish. Then later on, I actually discovered that the varnish which I'm making is far too soft, and that actually the great masters had a very hard varnish, which means that probably they used one part of linseed oil and one part of resin, which is to me, I think, very, very hard. I think too much resin with little of oil. And especially when I made this kind of varnish, I couldn't apply it. Okay. The varnish, the polyester sealer, what you are saying is something really very, very hard. And it's so it always depends on the sound you want to achieve. If you want a nice, sparkling, crunchy, super focused, sharp sound, which is just going in between your skin, your back, and you like a cat in the saw, wah, then certainly this is a good recipe to give the last kick for your violin. I like it a little bit more colored and a little bit more beautiful. And I like a violin where the musician can decide what kind of sound he's making. On the varnish you are proposing me here, the musician is not able to make a soft, mellow sound. It will be just always a shouting violin, okay? Uh, a guitar body is much bigger, the tuning is a little bit lower. That works out on a classical guitar, but on a violin, I think is not really very appealing, or for nowadays sound taste, which is going on, is not very appealing. Mark, your videos help a lot, especially in improving the sound of for our violins. I experiment in the sound post from the Philippines. I will go to Italy after this pandemic, and we will talk a lot. Yes, I'm looking forward. Actually, I wanted to go over there to Indonesia, but then I had to cancel my flight, and then also to um, to Bangkok to deliver a 7/8 cello, and then I wanted to go to Malaysia, but so I had to cancel the whole trip. Everything will be who knows when. Instruments are ready in the workshop, and but I would love to meet up with you or in the Philippines or in Cremona, and would be very interesting. Johannes, this is so interesting. Thank you. Johannes Bechlein. Wo kommst du her? Johannes Bechlein? Scheint Deutsch. Blue, oh, we heard us last week. Hello, Edgar. Thanks for the video chats. I'm here in England, carving a violin scroll. Hope you all stay healthy. I'm thinking of you because I just really would love to carve a violin here. Oh, damn. It's just, I'm missing it. You cannot imagine, but I'm annoying you here that I tell you how I'm missing my violin making. Mark Christian Chu, I cannot find your email. My email, or on my homepage, violincellomaker.com, and then you just write me, or you write me to info at, and then eras.it, or edgar at eras.it, and then you will see. Okay, hold on, I write it down here. Info at eras.it. I write it in, and then you have it. Okay. I'm getting better here every time with this online streaming here. It's pretty interesting because in the beginning I was afraid that if I tip something then it all breaks down, but good. So, thank you with a nice heart. You're welcome. Huh? I can also write back to him. No, I cannot. Huh? No. Um, Tostra, thanks for gradation advice as well. Of course, I didn't try to exactly copy the original Vion, but it is based on the same pattern at least. And yes, building as a hobby is very addictive. It is because you always say just one, but then it never stays with one instrument. This is the nice part because it's you always will find something where you say, hey, I need to do something better for the next one, and then somebody else, can you do this and can you do that, and then you're already inside the whole thing. Johannes Bechlein, what do you think about boxwood pegs? Everybody has them at the moment, but boxwood likes to shrink, so maybe cause trouble later. Do you like tamarind? Is it a good placement for Palisander? Tamarind is a good placement for Palisander. Even so, actually, a Palisander I like very much, and now Palisander turns back to be legal again because for instrument making it's so little, and we are allowed to use it on guitars, even on violin pegs. It starts I don't know if it's immediately or from March it was that I read something, but you can use the Palisander. The boxwood is actually has boomed now since they had these cheetahs and we were not allowed to use other exotic woods. But might be that in the beginning the boxwood is shrinking a little bit and then it goes in a little bit. But then once in the beginning also they turn out this nice. But once they start turning nice, then they will last for very long. And the good thing on the pegworks on the boxwood pegs or fittings is actually that it's very light. So uh, very traditional European because all the Baroque instruments had boxwood, and it is very long lasting once it is in. So when you get them new, let the pegs a little bit more out so there's more room to get in the very beginning, and then after 1 year they stay there and then they start tuning and you don't have to put anything. It's just they just turn very well if they're nice boxwood. Henry, thank you again for your help. Henry, you answer my question. You're right what you said. Wow, I have been a finisher for 40 years. You answered the right question. Thank you. You're welcome. Rodney Moore, best wishes. Stay strong. Always stay strong here. Nah. Mark Christian, grazie. Martin, do you use Bianco Vernice Primer? No, I don't use because I don't know what it is, so I don't know. But it seems like a product which is already finished and you just put it on. Uh, mm, I'm pretty open for new products and nice things which work. Okay, but on the other side, I'm also a little bit tradicionalista. How you will say? I keep on tradition. Uh, so on when it comes to varnish, we all somehow are dreaming to make the things correct how they have been in the past. Okay, and since the old great masters are sounding so well, there must be a way to come very close. And certainly a new instrument you cannot compare with an old one, but uh, there is something which the old makers used, which made their instruments sound so nice. And so I think you don't have to swap into some products from the supermarket, some primers or something. I think it's I prefer, let's say, the yellow of the egg. Okay, if you just want to hear that. Okay, and some stain before if you want to get a little bit more the flames out or things like this. Hope I answered your question, Tostra. Just one, yeah, I know. Have wood for 4 or 5 violins, another cello in my room. You never make just one. This is it, huh? Yeah, I hope not all are now starting to make their own instruments. So then, otherwise, I would be without work. But it is actually a nice thing, to get into it. I would have never imagined that violin making is so attracting. Jorge, you're 7. Hi, Edgar. Soaking a primer. Is egg yolk better or gelatine as a primer? Best regards, Alex. I would say you just name it and you are so close. I would just say or one or another. They're both very good. It's actually what we know nowadays about these great masters is that they have the wood and then they have a very thin layer of protein on top of the wood before they put on the first layer of yellow varnish. They always put the first yellow and then color and then finish another yellow or transparent, and then they finished it. So with the egg yolk and the gelatin, it's all protein, and so you're very close. And I would just say or one or another is actually very good. Mm, if you have tried them both, you probably have one preference, and you just take the one you like the most. I'm pretty attracted by the egg, but I know it's not so easy to keep their eggs always in the fridge in your workshop and things like this. So the gelatin is if it's also depending on what kind of result you want to have at the very end of your violin. So there are some people who put the gelatin only on the top in order that it is so nice white, and then on the rest they put something else. um, and then they have it so white, and then they don't know how to handle the whole varnish to get some color, and then they have to put on layers just to get it darker. um, it depends on what kind of color you want to give your instrument and everything. So if you want it regularly shiny varnish, then you put the gelatin. Otherwise, I just would go with the egg. Orhan, hi Edgar. I hope you and your loved ones are safe and well. We are. We don't go out, except my wife just now went after over 1 week. No, 1 week. She went out last week. I wanted to ask a question if you're regarding the strings. Is it okay to use alcohol or cologne in order to clean the strings? I would say it is okay. Just watch out that this alcohol or this cologne, which is nothing else than alcohol, is not getting on your varnish. So away from the instrument, you put it on your rag, not too much, put it aside, and then you clean it, okay, without that it is dropping on your violin. But this is actually good. Fine. Yeah. Martin, this primer is made of egg white. Okay. The white of the egg, I never heard that they use it. Well, there's this Sacconi preparation with honey and the white of the egg, and then this. Uh, I don't agree that much on it, but because it's a little bit too too hard. Like the white of the egg is too hard and not elastic, and that's something I don't like that much. That's why I wouldn't put on the white of the egg. But so the primer, the white egg primer. But if it works, certainly it's always protein. Uh, I have to admit, Martin, that I did never consider of using the white of the egg, and I don't know if it works out and the wood doesn't break and it sounds well and it is working well as a primer, then I would say go for it. Okay, and I will promise you that I will probably even try it, because this is something I've never tried. I always was uh, taught that I should stay away from the white part of the egg. Okay. Do you produce one or multiple instruments at a time? That's a good question. You want to know it all. Actually, I like very much to have more than one instrument at the same time, up to a certain step. Let's say when I'm bending ribs or when I'm jointing, then I'm jointing like 5 or 10 joints, and then in every bench I put in because then it doesn't take me that much anymore. So I like to prepare certain things for this immediately for 4 or 6 violins or one cello and 4 violins, something like this. But after I finish the rough shape of the arching and I'm down to the point that I have to make the edge work and things like this, then I actually cool down, and then after I put it in purfling, you don't like to put purfling on 4 violins at the same time, but it certainly happens also to me. Uh, this is a little bit too annoying and too heavy even for my eyes. So then I continue then with one instrument and then I finish it. Okay, so but it doesn't really mind. It's a question of personal way of how you like it. Um, at a certain point, you always have to finish one instrument. You cannot work on 2 violins and on 2 violins. You have to focus on one. Yeah. So some things is nice when the bending iron is warm. Then you bend the ribs. But I hope this gives you a good question. I'm not fixed on you have to get started from the very first to the very end and whatever. Hmm. Um, Nirmable, I tried some Chinese bow made from ipa and was pleasantly surprised. What is your opinion on new bow wood alternatives? I don't know IPA, but I like all alternatives, and I think it's that there are a lot of nice things being done. From by looking at them, they all look the same. So people are very easy to very quick in throwing them all into the same pot before they even try. No carbon fiber. I don't use no. From one or another one, there are so huge differences. You still have to try them and see if they fit. So uh, I would always say keep your mind open and just check them out. Sometimes you can really find something very good. You can do things in one way or another. A carbon fiber bow can cost up to 10,000 euro and has the fame to be a 100 euro bow. So, I would say just check them out, and then you will see. The only thing on the carbon fiber bow which I don't like is that people, as soon as you play on a carbon fiber bow, they only talk about carbon fiber bows, and this is something it's a little bit annoying. So I like this carbon. The Chinese started with this carbon fiber where they put some just like a plastic foil on top of it, so it looks like a wooden bow, and it was a good idea. I think they just got it at the right point. So you have a wooden looking bow, which is actually a synthetic carbon fiber. A very good idea. Will you make a video about the varnishing techniques of the old masters? Well, this is something I cannot do because I don't know how they did it, but I will certainly make a video about how I am varnishing, and I want to show you how I do it. Okay. Su Strazzacappa da Campos. Thank you. Yours videos helps every time. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy that I'm here helping you out. Memetan Orathan, thanks. Greg Oxel, thank you. Watching in Fries. VA, who is that? Vancouver, maybe United States. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Is the shallow channel above the purfling for style or for sound? For sound, definitely. There's some people thinking that the sound is actually created exactly from the purfling, like in this 1.5 centimeters around the purfling towards the middle of the arching. In that area, the sound is created. So if you would make that channel, then you have to make everything lower, and then the edge would become very, very thin, and it's already spruce, which is breaking very easy. So I think this is definitely also for the sound. Yeah. I would love to try one of your cellos one day. I'm unfortunately not much of a traveler myself, even though I would love to come to Cremona. But are you ever in Denmark? Wow, I've not been yet in Denmark, but I have been in Finland, and but why not? You know, if write me an email, and we can figure it out. That maybe when I go to Finland, then I stop by in Denmark. You know, it's, for me, it's just a small jump. I'm a globetrotter. Okay. As soon as we can travel again. Right now, I just get all these messages of all my flights which are canceled, and then say, "Well, why? Bangkok, Milan." And oh yeah, that would have been now the flight which I should have faced in these days. Anyhow, Jim Bell, do you use both types of violin molds, inside mold and outside mold? If not, do you have a preference and why? Okay, I definitely prefer the inside mold because that was actually the mold I was using from the very beginning. But I use also the outside mold, which means you have the outside shape and then inside there is a violin, and you put the ribs inside, which is also called the French method, and it has also been used for instruments which have been made in manufacturing in series. So there was somebody making the ribs somewhere and somebody else somewhere in a different area, the top and backs, and then they could match them together. I use the outside mold, the French system, for if I'm making a copy, a very precise copy, which is not symmetric and everything. And I love to use mainly the inside mold, where I make the ribs around my mold, which is the typical Italian way of doing. Uh, it's more or less the same thing. I just when I make a copy, I have the outside, and when I make just my interpretation of a model, or if I have now to design a violin, then I would make the inner shape. Okay, so it really depends on what I'm doing, what kind of instrument I'm making, if it's a copy or not. 67 minutes, you know, I have to close down because then Elena is coming and is going to have her lesson. Um, On the topic of alternative materials, I once tried the Lewis and Clark carbon fiber cello, and I really liked it. I can imagine because they really make something interesting. It looks a little bit like a piece of soap, but it sounds. I had the chance to listen to it. Um for the money, a good option, I would say. Okay. That being said, I think both carbon instrument and bows are a bit too pure in tone. I completely agree. What are your thoughts of carbon fiber used in instruments? I also think it's very nice. You can make it very precise, and the preciseness of an instrument is certainly a quality guarantee for a certain equilibrated sound over all four strings. Nothing is moving. I think it's a good idea, but just thinking of a carbon fiber cello with a carbon fiber bow, certainly it becomes a little bit too tight, you know, for me at a certain point. But you know, it's good option maybe as a travel instrument, or I think it would be something. It's a good option for open air concerts and all these kind of things. My wife is coming back and she's carrying like, huh?
I have a little present
A little present for me,
oh no, for the world,
for the world.
for the good luck.
Wow.
Esther Bunny.
Easter bunny. Okay. Huh? Isn't that nice? Easter bunny. You know, oh, next Monday is Easter, so we have to move it on Tuesday. Wow. Ah, nice, huh? Um, Let me see here. We have to come to an end, boys and girls here. So I think I got my picture. I'm pretty open-minded to carbon fiber. But Easter bunnies I like when they're made out of chocolate. And Mark Christian Chua, thank you really for your time. We really appreciate so much. We are attentive to your live talk. Yes, thanks. Sam, thanks for your time and advice. You're all very welcome. I'm very happy that you're here. I'm happy that we're here all healthy. Easter is coming. Next Monday is Easter, and I think it's maybe better if we just move it on Tuesday because it's Easter. I don't know how we're going to celebrate it here. It's becoming a little bit particular here, but probably we have with our grandfather a nice lunch and dinner and things like this. Okay. Thank you for watching and keep in touch. See you next week on Tuesday. Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.